The first thing we're going to want to get in order to write any code is a code editor. And a code editor is not that different from something like Word or a word processor or even just Notepad, but it has a few nice features that are going to help us write code a little easier and see what we're doing. So the code editor I'm going to be using is called Visual Studio's Code. If you don't have it, you can go ahead and Google it. You'll find it right here, code.visualstudios.com. And if you click on it, you can go ahead and download your build for Windows or Linux or Mac, whatever operating system you're on. I'm not going to walk through that process because it's pretty simple and intuitive. If you're in one of my coding classes, you probably already have Visual Studio Code installed, so you don't need to install it again. Once you have it installed, you can go ahead down to your search bar and type in Visual Studio Code. And it probably will open up full screen like this, except you won't have anything open. It'll open something like this. You'll see a welcome message. You can go ahead and close out of the welcome message. Now, the very first thing I want to do is make sure that we have a very specific setting turned on. So if you guys can go to File and Preferences, and under Preferences find Settings, and in Settings type in the word Format. And it's going to bring up these two things, Format on Paste and Format on Save. Check both of those. And what this is going to do is just help us format our code a little bit whenever we save so that it doesn't get all messy. You'll see what I mean later on when we're actually writing the code. But go ahead and check these two boxes. Make sure they've got a check mark in them if they don't already. And you can go ahead and close out of your settings. Let's get into actually creating our first project. The very first thing we need to do is actually open up our File Explorer here. So if we click on the file icon here, you should get something that looks roughly like this. What we want to do is create a new folder for the project we're about to make. So I'm going to go ahead and save that on my desktop. You can save it wherever makes sense for you to save it. And we can call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it Adventure Game. This is the folder where all of the files for our project are going to live. And that's really important to have this folder because while we're going to start out just creating one file, eventually we're going to have a bunch of images and other things that are going to go along with this game. And we want to keep them all in the same spot so that the computer can find them easily. Now you can go ahead and close your File Explorer and click on the top left of Visual Studio's Code, File and New File. And the first thing you want to do is say File, Save As. And it's going to give us a choice of where to put this file. So for me, that was on desktop, and it was in the folder Adventure Game, and that's where I want to put this file. And the actual name of the file is going to be index.html. You don't have to name it index, but that is the conventional name for the first page of a website. And you do have to use the extension .html, because that's what tells us it's an HTML page. It's how our computer is going to know to load it as code. So once you've done that, you can go ahead and click Save. And it should change the look of your project a little. It should look something like this once you do that. Now, technically, we already have a website. If I go to my File Explorer and I open up the file I have, so my Adventure Game file here, you can see right here called index.html, and I make sure to open it in Google Chrome. So you'll say, it'll either have the Google Chrome icon next to it, in which case you can just double click it, or you can right click it and say Open With and choose Google Chrome. And what that's going to do is open it up in a new tab or window in Google Chrome. And it's going to look really boring right now because it's completely blank. One useful trick for web development is it's very useful to be able to see our code and our website at the same time. To do that, go ahead and grab your web browser at the top here until it's a little window that you can drag around, and then drag it all the way to the right of the screen and let go. And then it'll give you the option of what you want open next to it. And we're going to choose our Visual Studio's Code project, so right here. And so now we have the code open on one side and the web browser open on the other. You can also change the distance between them a little bit by dragging them like that. Make it whatever you want, whatever's comfortable for you. Okay, now we're finally ready to actually write some code. This is very exciting. HTML works using these things called tags, and tags are basically just a way of creating an element of the web page. To create a tag in HTML, you're going to start by typing an angle bracket, and then HTML, the name of the tag. So the name of our very first tag is HTML, and then the closing angle bracket. And then VS Code may automatically add on another part to this tag. And it's doing that because tags always work in two parts. You have the opening part of the tag here, and you have a closing part of the tag here. For the HTML tag, everything between the opening part here and the closing part of the tag down here is going to be what's in our web page. Now you'll notice if we save this page with Control S, that's a hotkey for save, and we reload it, nothing's actually changed on our web page because just adding this tag really isn't going to do much all on its own. There's a few more things we have to do to set up the page. The first one is we want to create another tag called head. Open angle bracket and then HEAD, and then it should create the other one for you. Now you'll notice when you click save, Control S on your keyboard here, it's going to automatically move things around a little bit. That's why we did that format on paste and format on save. It's going to help keep all of our code in nice clean lines. The head tag is going to contain information about the web page. The two things you're most often going to use that for is the title of the web page. We have another tag for title. And in here we can put whatever we want our web page to be called. So let's call mine adventure game. Now if we save it and we reload the web page, you're going to see right up here at the top, the name of our website changed to adventure game. Nothing about the body of the website changed. That's not really what the head does. The head just changes information about the web page. The other thing in the future we'll do is we'll put our styles up here in the head. Now, to finally start adding some content to this, we need to use the body tag. And the body is basically everything inside of here. Everything from this line here down. This is all the body of the web page. All the content of our web page is going to appear in between this opening body tag here and this closing body tag here. And the tag I'm going to use to actually add content to the page is the paragraph tag. So if you do an open angle bracket and then a P and then a closing one, this is the paragraph tag. Everything between this and this is what's going to actually get printed on our web page. So here I can type something like, hello everyone, and save it, and then reload the web page. By the way, to reload the web page, you can click the reload button up here, or you can click on the web page and then click Control and R at the same time to reload it. And so there you go. You now have the text appearing on your website, and congratulations, you have now created your first actual real website. You could take this file anywhere to any computer and run it on any web browser and it would work, which is pretty cool. Once you have an understanding of how tags work at a basic level, it'll be really easy to just create fairly complex websites with a few basic tags. In the next video, we're going to look at HTML attributes and adding images and buttons to our web page so that we can actually create that whole layout of the adventure game that I was showing in the last video.